Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for What Am I Reading? This is a program where myself and some other library staff talk about books you can get from the Genesee District Library. So that's not only regular print, but also large print, book on CD, and even ebooks and audiobooks through Libby and Hoopla. Before we start, I just want to mention you can find all of our programs in our program guides. The fall one is heading to the branches right now, but you can access it online right now. I am joined by Jason, our Talking Book Center librarian, and Cassie, our Flint Township librarian. How are you guys doing?
Pretty good. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, doing
I'm,
good.
I'm doing good too.
So, we're each going to highlight a couple things we've been reading, and if you have any questions, comments, feel free to put them in the chat. We'll reply to them. If you want to mention something you've been reading, feel free to throw that in there too. All right, so I will get started. I have entered the Discworld series by Terry Pratchett, a series of comedy fantasy books. It's called Discworld because it is set on a flat disc with a rim. And so imagine like the flat Earth idea in this world. Um, this book's really centers around wizards and witches. Both they use magic, but in very different ways. Wizards are kind of a more logical, more mathematical system, where witches tend to use nature, stuff like that. Pretty stereotypical witches, wizards that you've seen in pop culture. And it's very gender divided. Women are witches, men are wizards. And the book begins, a wizard's about to die, and he passes on his staff and his skills to an infant he thinks is a man, and it turns out it's a baby girl. So this girl grows up. She has the ability to use wizard powers and witches powers, and she wants to go to the wizard school. And it kind of tracks her adventure, followed by her grandmother getting enrolled in this school just for men that don't believe women can use wizard magic. It's a lot of fun. Witches have the ability to possess animals for a short period of time, and she learns very quickly, hey, this is cool. Why don't I stay in there? And discovers, oh, my mind is melding with this creature. I think I am this bird, and has to get rescued by her grandmother. They eventually discover the wizard's magic are tying into these Lovecraftian creatures from another universe trying to get in. And she eventually gets to the school. Enrollment becomes an issue, and it's pretty funny, really great. Everything up till the end moves pretty nicely. When she gets to the school, it kind of falls apart in the writing, in my opinion, but still worth a read. I would definitely recommend reading this one in physical format. Something unique about the Discworld book is there are no chapters or separate sections. You start the book and it's just text all the way through. Physical books, there is a line break between like scenes, narrators, but in ebook, not at all. You're just reading, you're like, oh, this next paragraph is something completely different. I guess we've jumped characters. So, highly recommend it. It's the third Discworld book I've read. It's the one I've enjoyed most. You don't have to read the previous two to get into this. So I'd recommend this as a jumping on point. Um, and then jumping. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say it sounds super fun. Sounds hilarious. I've been thinking about these books for a long time. They've been on my list. You may have sold me.
I've read quite a few of the Discworld books, and they're all so funny.
Mhm.
Um, Especially, I like the wizards. I think they're very funny because they're a little bit elitist and also kind of dumb, but they're so smart at the same time. I just think it's hilarious.
Yeah, they're very much the academics who know a lot about very little. Anything outside that is just mystery to them.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, my next book is an autobiography, Failure is an Option by H. John Benjamin, an attempted memoir. H. John Benjamin is probably most well known as a voice actor. He is the voice of Bob from Bob's Burgers, Archer from Archer, and if you grew up around the same time I did, Coach McGurk on Home Movies. And each chapter is a different failure from his life. And it covers childhood failures, like how I failed to have a sleepover because I got scared in the middle of it. My parents had to come pick me up. To romantic failures, failures to plan and execute a family trip, and his career failures. Shortest chapter in the book is how I failed to differentiate the voices between my characters, Bob and Archer. The chapter is just like, I used the same voice. That's it. It's a lot of fun. These stories are great. He's a wonderful storyteller, and really centers around how most failures in our lives, they really suck at the time, but you just have to think of them, hey, this is a future funny story I can tell people. And it's a great mindset for the stuff that happens in our life that doesn't go well. Available at a couple of our branches, and yeah, highly recommend it. Each chapter is a nice short failed.
Open mindset's a good mindset to have.
Mm-hmm. My third book, Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. She typically writes fantasy books. I read Babel. It's fantastic. Poppy War, kind of a fantasy, alternate history type of book. But Yellowface is a bit more grounded. It follows a struggling author, June Hayward, and she's the friend of Athena Liu, who is just the star author. Everyone loves her. They're friends. They're hanging out. Athena chokes on some food and dies. June steals her upcoming manuscript that no one else has seen, edits it, and releases it under her own name, allowing her to become the next big thing, next big author. And she kind of justifies it. This is told in first person, so you get to hear all her thoughts, all her justifications. It's like there's a lot of work cleaning it up and editing and doing the research and double checking. It's okay for me to do this. And that just leads on a slippery slope where she visits the family. She's like, "Oh, I'm sorry for your daughter's death," and while she's there, she steals her notebooks of other ideas used for future books. Later on, she's really struggling. She's hosting a writer's workshop because she's the big author now and taking ideas from people who have signed up for this workshop. She gets a couple people, online trolls, online reviewers, and gets sucked into that online sphere, really arguing with them and really taking it personally. By the end, it's just completely unhinged. It's really interesting following a character that goes from somewhat sympathetic to just a complete irredeemable monster by the end.
Oh.
I say that, but the worst of it's just plagiarism and that kind of stuff. Doesn't kill anyone. Not quite Breaking Bad levels of a fall, but similar tone. But yeah, highly recommend it. Just a complete genre shift from her other books, but fantastic. And then finally, I have been listening to an audiobook, The Lord of the Rings books. I have been reading along with a podcast I follow. So typically they go through 3-4 chapters every 2 weeks and they talk about it. And it's really giving me a new appreciation for the books. When I read them physically, a lot of the time I'm just trying to get through it, reading faster than I probably should. Not a fan of the poems and the songs, skipping through those. But listening to it, that slower pace really fits the story of this long adventure. You kind of feel the distance that they're going, the time that's passing. So I'd recommend that. That said, I still listen at 1.2 speed. I read it a little faster than the normal reading speed, but highly recommend it. And yeah, it's given me a new appreciation for these books. A lot of little details you kind of skip through. I've enjoyed a lot more this time. So those are the books I've been reading lately. And we will pass it over. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say I enjoyed listening to the Lord of the Rings a while ago, and yeah, same things. Like I normally skip the songs, and like, oh, the orcs are singing again. No, and so it's nice to listen to it because someone else does the singing, and I don't have to read it.
Yes. I might have to listen to it because I've read and I got about halfway through the second one and it was just, you know, it's the slow pace and I set it down and haven't picked it back up. So maybe I'll listen to it. That I think you've convinced me.
I will say I have no internal sense of rhythm. So seeing a song just written as text is not doing anything for me. So having someone sing it to me is great. We have two different versions of the audiobook on Libby. One is read by Andy Serkis, the voice of Golem in the movies. I listened to the other version. I saw that. I'm like, I like Andy Serkis. I don't know if I could handle the Golem-esque voice for many, many hours. But the other reader, who I should have written down, is quite good too. So, yeah, give either version a try, and I recommend both of them. All right, Cassie.
Yes.
You're up next.
Okay. So the first book I want to talk about today is The Everlasting by Alex E. Harrow. This is a romancity book, but it has some sci-fi elements. Harrow is the author of many very good fantasy and like some kind of fantasy horror books. She wrote The Once and Future Witches and The Starling House. So this book, we have like an England type setting. It's a fantasy world, but it kind of is reminiscent of England in like maybe the 1900s. Our male lead is Owen, and he's a historian. He's a scholar. He was a soldier in a war, and he studies a folk hero called Sir Una Everlasting. And she's also our main female lead. The tale of Una Everlasting, it's like a King Arthur type story, but it really is tied to the formation of the country. So she was the knight for the queen at the time. So when the whole country kind of became a country, she was the right hand of the queen. She was the power behind the throne. So let's see. Yeah, she's a symbol of national pride. Owen is unwillingly and unknowingly whisked into her time period. And he kind of has to help her go through her last few adventures. And because she has to sacrifice herself for queen and country. They keep saying, for queen and country. And when Owen first sees her, it's kind of almost like you're seeing your idol, you're seeing your goddess for the first time. But then he slowly starts to view her as a real woman and love her for the person that she is, not just for the tale that she tells, not just for her legacy. And what I really like most, I think why this romancity worked for me, where others maybe didn't, is that like gender stereotype switch. We've got the lady who's the powerful knight. She's riding the horse. She's got her sword. There's a scene where she picks Owen up and sets him on her horse. And so that was super fun, them playing with the gender stereotypes. But then there's also the B plot, which is about like nationalism and history and storytelling and who gets to tell history and for what purpose, who's gaining power by telling history this way. So I highly suggest it. I was listening to the audiobook and I was maybe halfway through and I couldn't listen to it fast enough. So I purchased the book so that I could read it faster. And both are great. The audiobook I listened to, they have a male reading for Owen because most of it's from his perspective. But we do get to see Una's perspective. So we've got switches to a lady for her. And they're both great. I highly suggest it. If you don't know if romancity is for you, maybe it is. Maybe you just need to pick up this one.
Yeah, that's great. I love when they use multiple narrators for different genders, different characters.
Yeah, yeah. And since it was first person, you get in the head of these characters. So by the end, you just love them both so much. So yeah, that's my number one pick for right now. It was great.
Great, great.
Okay, my next one is a series. This is a manga series called Demons of the Shadow Realm by Hiromu Arakawa. She's most known for writing the Fullmetal Alchemist series, and then there was 2 anime that they adapted based off of that series. And this series now also has an anime. It's not very far in, maybe like 1 season. So I'm not caught up on either of them. I'm on book 4, and I think I'm on like episode 5 or 6. So this is like a fantasy graphic novel. It takes place in like an old remote Japanese village on a mountain. And our main character is Yoru. That's the guy on the cover. And then we're also introduced to his twin sister, Asa. Yoru spends most of his time in his village hunting to provide food. He's like an important figure. And Asa is also an important figure. But she's trapped in a cage. And she doesn't get to talk to anybody except for her brother. And she's connected to some mysterious task, but we as readers don't really know what it is. And that's a lot of this book, is readers not knowing anything. And I don't want to give away, the first book kind of has like a twist at the end, and I don't really want to give it away. But there's legends in this village of like demon pairs. They're really like spirits, and they come in sets of 2. And whoever like owns or is in charge of those pairs gets to like order them around. And most of them are very, they fight for you. So you basically have like powers. And if you liked Fullmetal Alchemist, you'll probably like this. So far, it's doing the thing that I think Hiromu Arakawa does best. She's balancing like funny stuff, action, but then also a lot of heart, because Fullmetal Alchemist, if you know, it's all about the sibling bond. And so this one, we also get the sibling bond. So again, I'm on book 4. I think there's like 9 or 10 out. I highly suggest checking it out.
So it's an ongoing series. It hasn't concluded yet.
Yes, exactly. It's ongoing, and I haven't even caught up with as far as it is out yet. So
Yeah,
It sounds pretty fun. And so many of those mangas too, where you're just like, oh, I like this, and there's 10 more, and then by the time you get to the 10th one, there's 5 more.
yeah. Oh,
So
and
many
then
to choose
there's and then there's the series of 25 episodes. There's so much. I'm looking forward to with this series.
yeah, I've read Fullmetal Alchemist. It's fantastic. So I've wanted to give this one a try. I just haven't had a chance yet. Yeah. And then
Alright.
secret for anyone watching the anime, if you want to skip ahead, you can always read the manga. If you can't wait another week for the next episode.
I suggest it. And, I have seen a few episodes of the anime, and I felt the same way with Full Metal. There was times where I was watching the episode when it first came out. It was new. And I was like, didn't I watch this already? Because they capture her art style and her voice so well that it felt like I was literally watching the book. So it's great.
Yeah, I had that feeling when I watched the first season of Game of Thrones. I'm like, this is beat for beat the book. I wish there was a little different. I don't really need to see it exactly as is, but
Mm-hmm.
Okay, book 3 is We Burn So Bright by TJ Klune. This is like a sci-fi, but it's really more like a drama with some romance elements. This one's pretty short. In this book, the world is coming to an end. It's like a black hole. So everything is going to be gone. And the world's known this for a while. We've got our main character, their husbands, Don and Rodney. And they've chosen to spend the last month of their life on a road trip. They are motivated by a promise that they need to keep. And of course, we don't really figure out what that is until, as the book progresses, we find out really why they're on this trip. And on the trip, we get to meet a bunch of other people that are, obviously affected by the world ending. And we get to see the worst parts and the best parts of humanity in this book. We see people that are just doing awful things because they don't know how else to deal with the world. And then we see people who are forming new connections. We meet a young couple that decide to get married, even though they're only going to be around for another month. And it's really beautiful. And I think TJ Klune, he's written many books. My favorite of his is Under the Whispering Door. And he deals with these really heavy topics, but he does it so lightly that it's almost cozy. Like, even though, this is the end of the world, everything's going to be gone. That tree is going to be gone. No one's going to remember us. But somehow he does it in a way that makes you feel like everything's going to be okay in the end. So I like to read TJ Klune when I need to cry, but also want to feel good about it. And yeah, that's this book. Big feelings, both the good and the bad, are very strong in this book. In the romance, of the main characters, they've been married 40 years. So it's just also really nice to see this happy older queer couple being able to reminisce about all the good things about their life. And I love this book. Absolutely.
Sounds fantastic. You don't often get that established relationship as like the main relationship in a book.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. TJ Klune pops up a lot for me for the books I'm reading. He's always being suggested. I haven't read one yet, and it sounds like it's right up my alley. And so,
yeah, you really should. They're so sweet.
So what would you do if there was a month left for the world?
I mean, road trip is a pretty good choice. Being able to see everything, but I don't know. I guess I haven't thought about it. Despite reading this book, I was thinking about them, not myself.
Fair enough.
There'd be a lot of ice cream probably in that last month.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, lots of good food.
Yep.
All right, and then your last one.
Ooh, my last one. I'm so excited to talk about this. Platform Decay is the most recent in the Murderbot Diary series by Martha Wells. It's an action sci-fi. In this series, we get this human robot hybrid, and it is kind of awkward. It doesn't really like talking to humans, but as the series goes on, we get to see it connect with the humans in its life that are important. And of course, there's a TV show out now that people are really enjoying, and I also enjoyed. But for me, Murderbot is best in the books. Let's see. The series is made up of mostly novellas. Most of them are like 150 pages. I think there's 2 full-length books in the whole thing. So even though there's something like 7 of them, it does not take that long to get through them. Our main character, Murderbot, is no longer owned by the company that made it. It can now think on its own and has free will. It's trained to run security, so it strives to protect the small group of humans that it has come to love. In this latest adventure, we get to see it interact with new humans that it hasn't met before, and some of them children, which is really very sweet. I love, there's a scene where it like lets a child piggyback on his back. And this is a robot. It doesn't really even like people touching it. So, holding a child's hand and carrying it around is just so, so cute. It really it's heartfelt. But then, the action is really good. The action is really snappy. You really have to pay attention when you're listening to the audiobooks. If my brain goes away for like a moment, I've missed something and I have to go back. And what I love most about the series is that Murderbot is just a very relatable character. If you've ever felt awkward, if you was ever in a situation where you really just rather be at home and watch your favorite TV show, then I think you will like Murderbot. And if you do listen to the audiobook, there are a few different versions of the audiobook. I listened to the unabridged version. It's read by Kevin R. Free. Free is Murderbot to me. I think that he does the best job. I also listened to one that was abridged and it had a whole cast. But because this book is from Murderbot's point of view, it's its brain that we're listening to. Just having Kevin R. Free do the whole thing just makes more sense to me. If you want to start, the first book in this series is All Systems Red.
I read the series. I haven't read this last one yet, but I love them too. They're great.
Yeah.
Like this dude, just wants to do his job and watch TV shows, but really, just wants to talk to. It's funny. He's a funny guy who doesn't like things, but just wants to watch TV. Sometimes he interacts with humans. Sometimes he has human-like interactions with other machines or computers and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's a very good series. Yeah.
Sounds fantastic. I haven't read any of them yet. I've heard good things. Our teacher librarian was constantly recommending both the books and the TV show to me. But something I'll look into. All right. Jason, are you ready?
Yeah. So I'm going to talk about Natural Beauty. Natural Beauty is a debut book by Lili Wang. It's satirical horror. She, the main character, she's unnamed until later in the book. She's a piano prodigy, and she goes to an exclusive school. Her parents are Chinese immigrants from the Cultural Revolution, and they used to be music teachers back in China. And so they've taught her how just to be a fantastic pianist, and she's a prodigy. So an accident, a terrible car accident, prevents her from continuing her studies because her parents are being taken care of, so she has to pay for that. So she has to go find a job. And so she finds a job at the best holistic, well, the company's called Holistic. It's a beauty and wellness company, and it's not what it seems. Everybody is so jealous of her for getting this job, and she thinks it's pretty great. But then things weirdly start happening. They take DNA samples of her. Her physical features start changing. All sorts of different things happen. So it's satire about consumerism and sort of beauty standards and trying to keep up with beauty standards, and just how something might look beautiful, but it's really dark and ugly on the inside. And that's a lot of what the story's about. There's some great scenes with people who aren't doing so well now that they've gone through some holistic things. Don't want to give things away because it is just there's lots that happen. So it's very entertaining. It's gross sometimes. It makes you laugh, and I shouldn't say it's gross sometimes. It's gross a lot. But I enjoyed it. It's the main character. You kind of feel bad for her. You're happy that she's sort of lucked out on getting this job, but then you see just how much of a toll it is on her and her life, and of course things aren't what they seem. So she thinks that this is just a job, but other things are going on. But I enjoyed it. If you like dark and funny and gross things, it's good. If you like the movie Obsession, I think it kind of goes along. It's like a similar sort of idea or feeling, but yeah, it's good. It's dark. It's a little bit gross. A lot gross.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah. Sounds like
it is. Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. And, yeah. Grossness is fun.
So it sounds like, I don't know if you've seen it, but The Substance, a movie about looking beautiful, also very gross.
Yeah, I haven't seen that, but it's something I thought of when I was reading the book. I was like, I bet you that like these books talk to each other.
All right.
The second book, Adventures of Aminas Al-Sharif. This is, I think, one of my favorite books of all time now. It's great. Amina is a retired pirate. She's living on an island quietly with her daughter, doesn't want to do any of that pirating anymore. It's kind of staying under the radar because, she was a pirate. Someone finds her and wants her to go find her missing granddaughter. And the missing granddaughter is the daughter of her former crewmate. So she starts her adventure. She's got to go find the granddaughter/daughter. And it's one of those things where there's nonstop adventure. Something, just every step, everything is another adventure. So she has to start. She wants to bring together her old crew. So she goes, finds her closest friend, who's also a poisoner. She's afraid that she might get poisoned while she's talking to her because they did not leave each other on good terms. So that plays it in a little bit. Her ex-husband shows up and he's a demon. And she talks about how that was a bad spot in her life. But she really still kind of likes the demon. And there's like sea battles with big monsters, and there's magic. And what's neat too is this is a pirate. This takes place in like around the Indian Ocean. Amina is from what we would call Oman, and so there's folklore from that area that's thrown in there, which is pretty neat. And there's things I'd have to be like, I don't know what that is. I have to look that up, and it's just mentioned like it's normal. I'm like, I don't know what that is, and so their whole goal is to find, back to the story, to find the moon of Saba, and whoever finds the moon of Saba becomes super powerful and, can take over the world and all that good stuff. And so the person who's doing that is, the person who kidnapped the daughter is Falco, super bad guy, wants to take over the world, will hurt anybody and kill anybody in his way to do it. And he gets his comeuppance and all that fun stuff. But it's a great story. If you like adventures and sea monsters and pirates, strong female characters, because she's a total, she's pretty bad. But it's a great book. And the author has written several books. She's normally it's under S.A. Chakraborty, but under this one she's Shannon. And but it's just great. And it's a really fun series. I probably haven't sold it well, but it's great. And it's kind of like a heist movie. Like there's some Ocean's 11 in there where they're, got to make these things work out at the same time. So super fun book.
Awesome. Sounds great. Pirate stories are always fun. Everyone's in that ambiguous gray moral area.
Yeah.
Never know.
Exactly.
Every
Yeah.
new character.
Yeah. Oh, you're a great character, but you're also totally bad. You're just a rotten person, but you're doing something so nice. Stuff like that. Yeah. And then third book is I Was a Teenage Slasher. And this book is kind of sweet. It's kind of like, oh, that's so nice. Like, and it's heartbreaking. And there's teenage slashers. But the story's about this boy named Tali, and he's just kind of just a regular kid. His best friend is Amber. They go to a party, and while they're at the party, a slasher shows up. So this slasher, and this is totally like 80s horror movie, Friday the 13th, all those kind of things. That's the backstory, I guess. A lot of that stuff. You'll enjoy this book. So a slasher shows up, and it's a kid who some of the local kids the year before, the story takes place in Texas, and they dared him and kind of peer pressured him to climb onto one of the oil derricks and like the pumps, and he ended up dying, getting killed, and losing both of his arms. And so when he shows up as the bad guy, he has two oil mining or oil drills for arms, and so he's attacking and killing and all that good stuff. Well, a little drop of his blood lands in a cut on Tali's face, and now he has been infected with Slasher. So now he has to kind of deal with this. And so there's lots of a whole thing going through like the tropes of slasher movies. He is put in the back of a cop car and he's able to open up the door and get out. Like the doors are locked for the other person, but he just opens it up and gets out. Handcuffs fall off, things like that. Like there's a scene where he's walking, trying to chase somebody, and he just gets there at the same time. Like just there's no problem with finding people. And so it's really fun in that way. But the whole story is written him essentially writing a letter to Amber, his best friend who he had to leave by the end of the story. And he's sad. He's sorry that what's happening. He wonders what she's up to. He doesn't want to be a teenage slasher. He's figured out like how to stay away from it and how to keep it tamped down. But it's he just feels real bad, and he wants to tell Amber how sorry he is and how much he thinks about her, and it's sweet like that, but it's totally slasher, blood and guts everywhere, and it's like lots of some pretty slasher scenes. So if you like 80s slashers, blood and gore, and a sweet coming of age story, you might enjoy this. Kind of reminds me of the movie Valentine's Day, where it's two stories in one, a romance or a rom-com and a slasher movie. It's like that. It's a good story.
Sounds amazing. I still can't get over, apparently slasher powers can be passed on like a virus, so you get infected and you're a slasher.
I didn't know. I'm glad I know now. And, it could happen. Yeah, it was a really great story, and it's a sweet. At the end of it, you're just like, oh, what a sweet story. I love that because it's just funny because it's a horror novel. And then the last book is Dungeon Crawler Carl. It is amazing, written by Matt Dinneman. It's blowing up, or it's blown up, and it's going to continue blowing up. I first listened to it on audio. If you can listen to it on audio, this is one of the few books that I ever recommend listen to the audio before you like read the book or something like that, because the audio is amazing. The person who does that one, he does all the voices and all of the other cool stuff in the book, because the story takes place on Earth right after an alien, several alien corporations have come to Earth, and they have turned the entire planet into 18 levels of an RPG game. So Carl, he has to go into the dungeon, or the aliens are going to kill everybody. So he runs into the dungeon, brings his cat with him, his ex-girlfriend's cat, Donut, brings her with him, and they end up in the dungeon and they start their adventures. Well, if you're sentient and a mammal, I don't even know if you have to be a mammal, you are now a character. So Donut is a talking character. Carl is now dealing with his ex-girlfriend's cat, Donut, who's great, but she's also insane. She has lots of charisma. She's Princess Donut. And so they both get to like choose their own characteristics and attributes. So it's just like when you're building a character in a video game, muscle and or strength and charisma and dexterity, all that kind of stuff, some different feats. Carl goes into the dungeon just in his underwear and bare feet, and so he ends up having to like incorporate that into his character. So he is like a barefoot fighter, and if he wears pants, he loses those powers. So he can never wear pants, or he becomes a weakling. And there's lots of great characters in it. They meet different people. Mordecai. There's other humans who also become different characters. And it's not, you don't have to stay human. There's people who become like orcs and ogres and other kind of fighters, elves and things. So it's great. If you love those kind of video games or Dungeons and Dragons or any of that stuff, like I said about the audiobook, when the computer, there's a sentient AI playing the game with them or playing the game, she when she speaks in the audiobook, it's great. Like, just can't recommend the audiobook enough. Unfortunately, Audible is the only way you can listen to the audiobook. We don't have it, but we do have the books. So it makes me sad, but it's a great story. They, if you like RPG, if you like MacGyver, because he's always MacGyvering things, if you like it when characters come up with a clever plan to succeed, there's lots of that. Everything, he's not going to win a situation, and he wins because he's clever. And but it's a great story. I can't recommend this one enough. It's going to be big. There's games, there's a graphic novel, there's a TV show, or there's going to be a TV show. I'm sure there'll be movies, and but I know I jumped all over the place trying to explain that one, but it's a great story.
It's popular. It's been blowing up everywhere.
Mhm.
Yeah. And there's going to be 9 books in total, I think, in the series, but the 9th book, from what I just read, is going to be split into 2 books. So 10 books, I guess. 9 volumes, 10 books. But great story, lots of fun. And also, I think it's good for, like, if there was someone who's like a reluctant reader, but they like fun and adventure. It's very accessible. Like, it's just, you can start reading it and it's hilarious and it's funny. The story starts up immediately. And it's fun. So yeah, there's not a dull moment. Just good times.
So like middle school teenager, you'd say?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, middle school teenager. Yeah.
Okay.
And lots of fun.
All right. Sounds good. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. If you're interested in anything we've talked about, you can visit our website, thegdl.org. Place these books on hold and have them sent to your library. You can order anything from any of our branches and have it sent to the one close to you. You can also log on to Libby or Hoopla and see what's available there, whether it be the audiobook version or the print version. Thank you, Cassie and Jason, for sharing what you've been reading. And thank you, everyone, for watching. Have a good day, everyone.